was a Dutch company founded over 400 years ago. At its peak, it was worth more than any company in history. Think about Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Saudi Aramco. Now combine all of them. You still wouldn't reach its valuation. When we think about capitalism and old money, names like Rothschild or Rockefeller usually come to mind. But long before them, there was a quieter power, one that didn't just accumulate wealth, but engineered the system that creates it. This company built the foundations of modern capitalism. And the system it pioneered, it's still running the world today. So buckle in. This is the story of the Dutch East India Company and the family that helped turn capital into power, the House of Orange. Let's rewind to the year 1580. Something dramatic happens in Europe. Spain takes control of Portugal through a personal union. Overnight, two global superpowers merge under one crown. Together, Spain and Portugal now dominate trade routes across Asia, Africa, and the Americas. They control spices, silver, shipping lanes, and the seas themselves. For the Dutch, this is an existential threat. At the time, the Netherlands is technically under Spanish rule, fighting a long and brutal war for independence. And now, the world's largest empire just got even bigger. Militarily, the Dutch can't compete. They don't have the population, they don't have the resources. So instead of building a bigger army, they build something else entirely. A new weapon, capital. In 1602, 7 Dutch trading companies merge into a single entity. It's called the Verenigde Oost-Indische Compagnie, the VOC. On paper, it's a merchant company. In reality, it's something the world has never seen before. The VOC has armed fleets, private soldiers, fortified ports, and global trade monopolies. It can wage war, negotiate treaties, and govern territory. But its most radical innovation isn't military, it's financial. For the first time, ordinary citizens are invited to fund imperial expansion and profit from it. The VOC doesn't rely on kings or taxes, it scales through public investment. This isn't wealth tied to land or noble titles, this is wealth manufactured through markets. Merchants now draw the blueprints of empire. But someone else helps keep the system standing. Enter the House of Orange. The House of Orange is one of Europe's most prominent dynasties, with a problem. They don't rule a kingdom. They hold a fragile position in a merchant republic where wealth increasingly matters more than bloodlines. Amsterdam's elites push for republican control. Spain wants the family erased entirely. The old feudal model is collapsing, and the Orange family can see it. They face a choice: fade into irrelevance or adapt. They don't control the VOC directly, but they invest in it. They align their future with it. This gives them leverage in a world where power is no longer guaranteed by crowns, but by capital. Over time, that connection deepens. By the 18th century, members of the House of Orange serve as stadtholders and presidents of both the VOC and the Dutch West India Company. They still wear no crown, but their power is now backed by dividends. The VOC doesn't behave like a business, it behaves like a state. At its peak, it's worth an estimated $7.9 trillion in today's money, more than any corporation in history. It commands vast fleets, employs tens of thousands, and maintains its own private army. Over 1 million people leave the Netherlands for Asia during the VOC era, not as settlers, but as corporate employees. They run ports, guard warehouses, negotiate with rulers, and enforce trade monopolies, all under a company logo. The VOC's power rests on 3 pillars: a state-backed charter, Amsterdam's financial elite, and political support from the House of Orange. This charter allows the company to trade exclusively in Asia, but also to wage war, seize land, and govern colonies. It's capitalism with sovereignty. In August 1602, the VOC does something revolutionary. It opens ownership to the public. This becomes the world's first initial public offering. Capital floods in. But this raises a critical question. Why would rival families trust one shared company? Because the risk has changed. For the first time, ownership is permanent and transferable. Shares can be bought, sold, and traded freely. This creates the world's first secondary market, the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Soon, traders go further. They speculate, they hedge, they short. Many of the tools used on Wall Street today are born here. But speculation alone isn't enough. To scale empire with public money, fear has to be managed. The solution? Limited liability. If a ship sinks, investors lose only what they invested. Their homes, land, and families are protected. Risk becomes predictable. Confidence explodes. From an index value of 100 in 1602, VOC shares rise nearly tenfold by the early 1700s. Capitalism has found its engine. This financial model doesn't stay in the Netherlands. It spreads, and it's carried by one man in particular, William of Orange. In 1688, England faces political crisis. King James II loses the trust of Parliament. British elites turn to James's daughter, Mary, and her husband, William of Orange. William arrives not just with troops, but with a Dutch understanding of power. Markets are not a threat to authority, they are their foundation. This moment becomes the Glorious Revolution. Under William and Mary, England launches the Bank of England, creates public credit, and funds wars through bond markets. Dutch financial ideas are written into British law. Across the Atlantic, the same system takes root. New Amsterdam, founded by the Dutch, becomes New York. And even after the British takeover, Dutch legal and financial customs remain. Over time, New York inherits the DNA of both Amsterdam and London. That foundation helps turn a port city into the world's financial capital. No system is invincible. By the late 1700s, the VOC begins to crack. Corruption spreads, oversight fails, competition intensifies. Military costs rise, markets shift away from monopolies. In 1795, the Dutch state steps in and nationalizes the company. After nearly 2 centuries, the VOC collapses. But its architecture survives. The Netherlands is no longer a maritime empire, but it remains a financial one. It ranks among the world's top destinations for foreign investment. Dutch capital flows through corporations, treaties, and global markets, and the House of Orange still reigns. The crown is ceremonial, but the connections are not. From energy to finance, the royal family remains deeply tied to Dutch industry. Royal Dutch Shell emerges in 1907. ING becomes a European banking giant. These companies don't invent capitalism. They operate inside a system built centuries earlier. When we think of capitalism, we remember the names that mastered it. But long before them, the blueprint was already drawn. But this story has a dark side. The VOC's rise was built on violence. Massacres in the Banda Islands, forced labor in spice-producing regions, brutal suppression of resistance across Asia. Entire communities were destroyed to protect profits. So yes, the VOC transformed finance, but it also caused immense human suffering. And that tension still defines our world today. The House of Orange understood something early. Capital could be more powerful than crowns. They helped scale a system where war, trade, and finance moved together. And that system never disappeared. So here's the question that still matters. If markets now hold the power once reserved for monarchs, who governs the markets? And who holds the crown when the crown is invisible? If you made it this far, leave a comment. And if you want more deep dives into financial history, subscribe. Thanks for watching.